Why don't you listen? These words reverberated in my head. I'm standing there, completely naked, just getting ready to get into the shower. My wife had come into the shower and she's standing over on the side just looking at me, and we had a 5-minute conversation. See, leading up to this point, I had taken my wife on a roller coaster ride. And I really didn't see that I had done that, but I had taken her, my family, my whole world on this roller coaster ride, and I'd made it all about me. And I'm sitting there getting ready to get in the shower, and inside of my head, I'm so confused. I have no idea what to do. I'm stuck. I can't figure out why it's not working. No matter what I do, no matter how hard I push, no matter what direction I go, no matter what industry I jumped into, I always seem to end up back where I started. Like there was never a point in which I got ahead. And what was worse is you could look at my life from the outside, and guess what? Everybody, my neighbors, my friends, my family, they're like, oh man, there's Trevor. He's crushing it. He's doing a great job. But inside, I was just dying. I was on this roller coaster and just going around and around. Sometimes I'm banking left, banking right, but always back where I started. And standing there completely exposed, literally butt-ass naked. My wife standing about 5 feet away from me. I still remember what her eyes looked like. It's hard for me to even talk about because I could see the pain that I had caused in her. And then I started to see the pain I'd caused everywhere I went. And it was the pain inside of them, and it was the pain inside of me that was like a cancer, because I knew I was meant for something more. I knew it. So if you're watching this, and that's you, what do you do? I didn't know what to do. I'd been told what to do, but I wouldn't do it. I was unwilling to take the action, the steps to do what I needed to actually do. I kept trying to scheme. I kept trying to figure things out. So my wife just left. She left the bathroom. I got in the shower, and her words just echoing through my head. And I knew at that moment that if I did not pivot my entire life, if I did not figure this out, I was going to lose everything. It wasn't even about me anymore. It was about what I knew God had placed on my heart that I was supposed to do while I was here on this rock. There was something I was called to do, and I was missing it, and I knew it. And it was haunting me inside. It didn't matter how much money I made or didn't make. It didn't matter how much sex I had with my wife or didn't have with my wife. It didn't matter how many times I took my daughter or my son on a date, tried to invest in them, tried to do things for them, tried to be the Disneyland dad. Didn't matter. No matter what it was, there was a disconnection, because no matter what, I ended up back on this roller coaster, and I ended up back where I started, and it was so frustrating. And I know you feel exactly the same way. It's like you're stuck in this game. You're stuck in this place that you have no idea how to get off the roller coaster. And so you think, oh, it's this. I'm going to change industries. That's what it is. So you change industries and you go. The problem is, every time you change, every time you try to do something different, you're the common denominator. And you fuck it up every single time. And there comes a point, and I saw it in my wife's eyes. I saw it in my wife's eyes. She wasn't going to put up with it. She was done. She was done. About 2 days after that experience in the bathroom, she sends a text to one of my mentors. Very simple text. It says the following: I can't ride this roller coaster with him anymore. As my mentor showed me that text, I sat there and I sobbed. I sobbed like a baby, because everything was coming down at the exact same time, and I couldn't figure out the financial side. I couldn't figure out what to do there. I couldn't figure out how to actually hear and listen to God. I couldn't figure out how to even connect with my wife. Sex and intimacy was a joke. Never happened, never experienced. I didn't know what to do. I felt uncomfortable, and then I started believing all these bullshit lies that I actually didn't want to have sex with my wife. Which is wild, because, to be honest, my wife is an 11 out of 10. She's the most beautiful human being on the planet, and I was literally wrecking her whole life. And she sends that simple text. And from there, I knew there was only one path, and it was to get off. I had to pivot off of the roller coaster, this roller coaster to hell, my own personal hell that I had created for myself, and finally look to the one place that I could solve this perpetual cycle of round and around and around. You're at that point Whether you know you're at that point or not, the pivot off of this roller coaster must happen. You must stop the cycle. You must stop the over and over, around and around. Your wife won't tolerate it forever. She's not going to put up with you being broke. She's not going to put up with you being fat. She's not going to put up with you operating way below the standard of who you are. God called you on this planet for a reason. And you know it, and you feel the calling inside of you, this potential, this word potential. You have the potential, but the potential doesn't mean shit unless you can realize it, unless you can figure out, what do I actually need to do? How do I actually take this potential that I have and turn it into something grand? It's not about making money, but you need to make a shit ton of money. It's not about having the most amazing marriage in the world, but you need to have a queen beside you that supports you, loves you, and will push you to become the best version of who you are. It's not about being shredded and having a six-pack, but guess what? The most lethal version of you walks around with his arms up and says, fuck with me, I dare you. Why? Because you live at the highest level of who you are. And all of that centered around one common voice. And it's the voice of God. It's the voice of God, and he's speaking to you. He's speaking to you right now, and I know you can hear him. Because I hear him. I feel him. And he's telling you one thing, that if this does not happen and you do not pivot from where you are at, you will die in quiet desperation. And you will walk around and live the rest of your life. Your heart might still be beating. Your lungs might still be drawn in air, but you'll be a corpse of who you could have been. And then you will find, after this life, you will stand there face to face with what you could have been. And the biggest tragedy of all will be looking at the gap between who you could have been and who you ended up being. And the gap is so wide that it's unrecognizable. You know what to do. You're here on this page. Click the button. I help men and women just like you to identify and find this pivot off of your roller coaster to hell. Because here's what I know. If you do not take bold action and you do not pivot off of who you have been your entire existence, you will continue, and you will cycle till you die. But this is your shot. This is your shot. Now let me be very clear about something. I do not work with everyone. There are many people who I would fucking burn up with my fire. You can't handle the intensity? Don't click the button, because this is not for you. I'm not interested in someone who's interested in trying to become better. I'm not looking to help you become better. I'm looking to transform you into the man and the woman that you know God has called you to be. But I can't want to fight more than you want to fight. So if any of what I'm saying scares you to the point of you're like, I don't know, I don't really want to do that, go away now. Go away. But if what I'm saying to you and the voice that God is speaking to your heart right now to saying, this is it, this is the pivot I need to make, click the button now. Click the button now to apply. Once you've filled out the short application, I review it. If I see as a fit that you might be qualified, then we'll schedule a call with me. And you and I will have a conversation, and we'll determine whether or not you are actually ready to take this move and to take yourself to where you have always dreamed you could be, to have the life that you've always loved, to actually stand and wake up every single day and be completely fulfilled, to love every part of your life, to build a life by design, to have the marriage that you want, to have the money that you want, to have the body that you want, the family, the children that you want, and most importantly, to feel connected with purpose. That what you do matters much more than just you and your little bubble, but it matters to the world because you have a calling. If that's you, click the button. Click the button on this page, and I'll see you, if you qualify, on our one-on-one free consultation. Click the button now. Well, that's a one and done.